I will start with a few excellent questions. The first one will be, what is your name? And the next one is, I want you to say your name out loud. My name is Alain Faber. Second, I want you to think about who is the person behind the name. So who are you? In mind, in soul, in body. Who are you? And the question with this is the fact that who you are as a person is a brand. It is how other people see you, understand you, and go along with your vision of life. Let me tell you a few stories. First of all, this topic was very hard for me to understand and comprehend because when I think of a brand, I think of brands that are in the market. You certainly know brands that are about clothing, about electronics, cars, even cities that are, when you think of a city, for example, Paris, Paris has a brand with that name. When we think about Paris, we think about food, the Eiffel Tower, fashion. There's all kind of things, architecture. There's a lot of things that come to mind. Now, what I want you to do today is realize that a brand is a perception of a message and a vision. And I was not quite sure how to define it today. But when you think of a brand communicates a vision. It communicates what the person stands for, what the company stands for. For example, if you think of the company Apple, Apple is a company that makes phones, iPod, iPads, what else? Computers, but it's more than that. Because when you look at their marketing campaigns, they don't necessarily talk about the tech, they talk about the culture. Because Apple is more than products, it is actually a vision to make our lives better by communicating with each other. That is a great brand. When you have a brand in your mind and in your heart, it stays for a long time. And I remember in university, we were talking about that, and that is in the end of the 80s. Computers, the Mac, and PCs, they were not great computers back then, but there was still a rivalry between the two. And both of them were talking about the vision of what computers could be. And look at the phones we have right now. I'm recording this video on a phone, on a smartphone. It's amazing. When you think of a brand, you need to think more than just a product or a title, because a brand is more than just things or names or titles under your name on your business card. What is interesting is when you think of brand, a brand is the fact that you're an individual or a company is an entity that is sharing a culture to the rest of society. For example, my name is Alain, and I'm a teacher, and I used to be a geologist. So these are titles based on my education. Now, when I started teaching, I was a science teacher or the French teacher, and that is also titles. That was coming along with the job. I am a parent. That's a title. And what is interesting, in each of these words, you hear them and it's part of your environment. And you have to be careful not to identify just by products or by titles. You need to figure out at some point that you're more than that. And that is the reason for this journey I'm doing with you. Because when you think of a person and you know that my one word that defines what I do is learn, then I have a vision. I have a message to give. So I'm more than just a geologist or a teacher or a father. I am a person who believes in learning. And that becomes part of my ideas and my drive to do what I want to do. And that's part of what I think is branding. Now you have to keep in mind that creating a brand takes a long time. You cannot do it overnight. Some people could be overnight successes, but often we call them people with the 15 minutes of fame, and then they disappear in history. If you want to have a long-term impact in the world, if you want to feel that your contribution to your lives, the lives of people around you, and even beyond is important, you need to go and think of yourself as more than titles. And I think that is what I've realized today thinking about branding. As part of a brand, keep in mind that we just don't want to be one dimension. We want to have several dimensions. So, for example, we may be providing a service or creating goods, but that is one aspect of your brand. The second one is sharing your vision to add value to whoever are going to use your service or buy your product. Think about that. It's so much bigger now because you're not just selling something, you are adding value to the people who are using what you are offering to the system, to society. And at the end, we can all become better. So today's homework is the following. I want you in your journal to write down your name. That's the first thing. Second, I want you to write down, according to you, what is your mission? What is that? What drives you? What gives you energy in the morning to get up? It could be helping others. It could be supporting people close to you. It could even be sending a text to make people feeling happy for that day. A phone call to make people feel better. These are all things you can do to add value to other people's life. It could be bigger. You could create courses to make people learn more so that they can go beyond their mindset and change the world. That's another way. You can also have a mission to be a problem solver. You walk around, you see what could be better, and then find solution and create great businesses. That's a great place too. You could be an employee who is working for an organization and you are adding value for that organization so that at the end of the day, people using that service or the product that you're offering are having a better life. That is part of who you are, and it is important. And the question is, once you realize who you are and you know what your mission is, what gets you up in the morning and gives you energy, in the weeks to come and the years to come, we're going to try to figure out what can we do to feed that feeling, that feed who you are, add value to the person you are, so that at the end of every day, you are growing as a person. Your mindset is expanding so that we can all create a better world for ourselves, for people around us, and contribute to a better world. So here we are. I'm going to put here the link to the playlist for this Best Life journey. And I'm very happy that you're part of this with me. And I know that this is changing your life as well. See you there.